Ladies and gentlemen, let me now take the opportunity to introduce the chief guest for the day, Professor Debashish Chatterjee, Director, IIM Kozhikode. Professor Chatterjee has taught leadership at Harvard University and at the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, Lucknow, and Kozhikode for more than 2 decades. He has been awarded the prestigious Fulbright Fellowship twice for pre-doctoral research and postdoctoral work at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. His published works include 18 books, including Karma Sutras, Leading Consciously, and Timeless Leadership. Recently, he published his debut novel, Krishna, the Seventh Sense. Professor Chatterjee has served as leadership coach to political leaders and CEOs of major Indian organizations and has also served as the Dean of SP Jain School of Global Management in Singapore. He was the mentor director of IIM Amritsar from June 2018 to July 2019. Dean and tenured professor at IIM Lucknow, Professor Chatterjee is credited with transforming IIM Kozhikode from an obscure regional school to an institution of national impact and global recognition. A pioneer in the field of Asian models in leadership, Professor Chatterjee served as the director of the Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, for the first term from 2009 to 2014, second term from 2018 to 2023, and now he has been reappointed as the director of IIM Kozhikode for a third 5-year term. With this brief introduction, I request him to kindly come forward and present the convocation address.
This is a bright day. Dr. Tarun Agarwal provoked in me the urge for poetry. I just remembered Harbanzai Bachchan, who just quoted. He said, "Mitti ka tan, masti bhari man, shan bhar jivan mera parichay." All that you heard has nothing to do with me. It has something to do with institutional recognition of just a life, just as the life that is sitting on a chair. Dr. Tarun Agarwal, Director, Dr. Sanjay Mali, Principal, Chair Professors, Dr. Satya Kumar, Dr. Balagopal, and CEO Jayashree Sridhar, ma'am. The distinguished guests here, the parents of students who are sitting here, staff of NIA, and at the center of attention, those who matter this afternoon, this morning, the students, graduating batch. Thank you for the privilege of returning to my Karma Bhumi after 30 years. I began my career right here. There are 2 lessons I learned based on not getting a single promotion during my career in insurance. I was never promoted thereafter. I only got selected. In IIMs, you didn't get promoted. You have to be selected for every stage of the way. The first lesson was your primary job in a corporate environment is to make your boss successful. That's your job description. Everything else is secondary. The second lesson I learned is that behind every successful professional is a surprised mother-in-law. Never expected you to do this well. You know, the thing is that the career that you pursue is actually the pursuit of one of the Purusarthas that our great sages were talking about. Of the 4 Purusarthas, you know, Dharma, Artha, Moksha, and Kama, not necessarily in that order. Currently, your pursuit is largely about Artha. Artha very technically means money, but that is not the actual meaning of the word Artha. Artha means security. It may come from multiple sources, including money, a stable marriage, whatever it is that you're seeking by way of stability. But we are inherently insecure. That is the law of life. The moment you're born, insecurity begins. And your profession teaches you, ensure and be secure. जिंदगी का साथ में भी, जिंदगी के बाद में भी. ये जिंदगी के बाद is post-mortem security, imagine. So the thing I'm asking you to say, inherently, if you're not insecure about our dental alignment, we are insecure about mental alignment. There are two professionals who are actually walking their dogs in a park. One of them has a Labrador, the other has a variety which is not as high grade as a Labrador. And they're eating from the same garbage bin. The dogs quarrel with each other for a while for territoriality, and then they settle scores. They have no problem eating from the same place, but the owners have a problem. How come my dog is eating with that dog? And that is a human predicament. We are constantly looking for meaning based on our inherent insecurities of life. And there's nothing wrong in being insecure. Just that you should know that our pursuit for security drives us forward. For an academic like me, the security came from having a PhD. That's a threshold. So I got my PhD and I walked into my village, very proud of having a PhD, the first PhD in my community, in my entire family. I walked into the village and somebody asked me, who has no idea what PhD is, PhD hota kya hai? I said, Doctor of Philosophy. I said, I've heard of many kinds of diseases. What kind of disease is philosophy? What kind of disease is philosophy? But I must tell you that, if you do not have an abiding philosophy, you can never go up there. Philosophy is the driving power behind all our achievements. You may say, oh, I don't really have a philosophy. You do. You do, but you don't examine yourself enough. You do. And I seek your permission to address this convocation a little unusually, because that's the way I do things. So if I could ask you to look at what would constitute your own identity as a professional. You start with the issue of identity. Who are you as a professional? Many years ago, my father walked on this campus. He was proud to see his son getting into National Insurance Academy. And this is his 90th birthday. Today happens to be the day he was born. And I realized when I stand up before you, I realized that he's the one who gave me my first jacket to wear. He taught me, he gave me my life. He gave me a voice with which I could say, well, I'm talking to you. If I take away his contribution to my life, you know what I'll be left with? Not even my vocal cords, which is his gift. So I'll say, absolute nothing. So if I can ask you to just stand up from your chairs and applaud as profusely and loudly as you can for those parents who are here, those parents who are not here, could you please do that for me? I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. So please keep standing. Please keep standing and extend this to some of your star faculty who are sitting here. The faculty are, no, don't do it now, let me name some of them. Shalini Tiwari, star faculty Shalini Tiwari, MC Patavardhan, Kshitiz Mahanti. And if I had to take all the names, the convocation would be over. So I would urge you to silently say a word of gratitude for all those faculty who has brought you this far. It's very important. Can you please take your seats? Thank you. And so if you ask me what would constitute success in professional life, leadership is professional life, I would say it is your ability to change, alter your karma. Karma is not such a complicated word. Karma means anything I do repeatedly, any model that I accept as my own. Suppose I am addicted to a cup of coffee in the morning, I'm building a coffee karma, right? So what you do well on an everyday basis becomes your karma. But fundamentally you have to understand that this repeated way of doing things does not serve you in the context of life that is changing so quickly. So you have to change with times, you change with life. Mohandas would become Gandhi by changing his own karma. He was a lawyer, professional lawyer, just like you are, looking for a career. Gautam would become a Buddha because he could change his karma. Ratnakar would become Valmiki because he could change his karma. You will become who you are because you change your karma. Who on earth thought an insurance guy struggling to find his space as a research associate will come this far? But it is a repeated questioning of your habitual responses to life. In short, challenging your karma, that'll take you there. Look at, I remember a reference to Gandhi. He was traveling by a train, one of his shoes falls down on the railway track, and the train has begun to move away. If you were sitting there next to Gandhi, you would have said, "Oh, mera juta kahan gaya hai? Kaise main train ko ruk sakta hu ki juta retrieve kar sake?" But Gandhi did something very unusual. He threw the other of the pair. And when somebody asked him, "Why did you throw the pair?" He says, "The man who will find the pair, one pair would be poor man, a pair would be useful for him. One is nothing for me, one is nothing for him." So how he changes his karma is thinking of a world that is other-centered, that is not centered around your career, more of yourself. Right now, the obsession that you have with your own career will soon have to yield place to obsession with others if you have to be a leader. If you want to remain where you are, then you can stay with your karma. You don't want to change it. But if you have to actually move, and for that you need great teachers, you need people who reflect back to you what you're really good at. For every Arjun, there had to be a Krishna. For every Alexander, there had to be an Aristotle. For every Chandragupta, there had to be a Chanakya. So you have to find your teachers. And they can come from any walk of life. They'll help you change your karma. I had one such teacher. Who never gave me a promotion yet. That is precise the result. What I did. That's a teacher. He's a teacher. And the point I'm trying to make is that if you learn that in order to change your karma, you have to understand the laws of cause and effect, which guides us. It's a very important law. How do you understand the law of cause and effect? First of all, you recognize how do you actualize your impact on the world. You have a body through which you perceive the world. You have a mind through which you feel the world. And you have an intellect through which you think of the world. This BMI, body, mind, intellect, is your basic instrument. If it is guided by an other-centered universe beyond your ego, you evolve as a leader, as a professional. If it is guided by your ego, then you remain in your little cocoon of body, mind, intellect. So body, mind, intellect in the service of the larger world, orientation to serving the world, becomes a very critical element in your success. And then you have to understand the law of cause and effect. What is the law of cause and effect? The first law says, and these are the ancient rishis of India who told us about this, I'm just summarizing this for you. The first law says, wherever there is an effect, there must be a cause. Wherever there is smoke, there must be fire. So if you look at what kind of jobs will make you successful, then you have to find out the cause is not the job person. There are no jobs out there beyond a point. There are only customers for your talent and capability. The cause is your capability, effect is job, not the other way around. So don't get that clarity. For every cause, there must be an effect. So figure out the cause. Work from first principles. Elon Musk will tell you that he operates from first principles. What is the cause behind the effect? Why did the boss get so angry with me? What could be the causal forces? So your search for a cause will take you to the deeper relationship with your universe. The next thing is, one cause can have multiple effects. One seed can produce a tree, a forest, multiple flowers. One cause. What is that one cause that will produce all the effects in your career path? That cause could be excellence. Figure out what you're excellent in. If you're really good in something, it'll produce multiple effects. Today's 18 books have been written because I recognize that I'm not great as a speaker, I'm better as a writer. So I spend time writing rather than speaking. And the result was, as a result of this, everything that came to me came because of that one cause. And the third axiom of cause and effect is, when you remove the cause, nothing remains. What is the cause in professional life? Your own reputation. If that is gone, nothing remains. Look at Satyam. Look at Enron. Look at all those organizations that grew big. Look at Anderson Consulting. They were big organizations. They fell. Nobody hears of them anymore. Why? Because the cause was that they were good because they had a reputation. People came to them. So once you lose your reputation, one of my students who got a job in Tata Administrative Services, I pushed him in that organization because he was really good, competent guy. But he was thrown out of the company. All of a sudden, I heard that he had forged the identity of his vice president while staying in one of the hotels. That was the end of his career, professional career. So one little thing, when you remove that cause, the reputation capital that you have, once that is gone, nothing will remain. So please understand the dimensions of cause and effect. And then what you do is, beyond the law of cause and effect, what you do is you decode. When you enter an organization, you're already going into an organization, decode the culture of the organization. That's very important to know. You understand cultures. If you look at photographs of people in 1945 and before that, you see people were not smiling in those photographs. So researchers tried to figure out why were they not smiling. Was there a dental problem? They had bad teeth? Further research suggested it was not about bad teeth. Smile was thought of as low-class activity. Rich people, aristocrats did not smile. They had to be serious. That was the culture that produced the effect repeatedly. So if you understand a culture, what kind of organization am I entering? What is the informal organization beyond the formal structure? Who plays this? Who is politically more savvy? So you have to decode the informal organization to understand the culture. Culture is like electricity that flows through a switchboard. And the switchboard determines how the electricity is going to flow. So cultures have codes, rituals, and they determine how an organization behaves, who calls the shots, what kind of political aspect there is. You may not be a politician, but you have to understand all organizations are political organizations, by definition. They can't be an organization without politics, right? Finally, this is where I'm going to come to, because my time was 20 minutes, right? So finally, I come to a very important question. How do you understand organization from the point of view of the primary principles? And I'm offering a very radical point of view. That is precisely why I'm here. I'll not say non-commonsensical stuff. I understand love is the ultimate organizing principle. You may wonder, oh, I thought it was about romance. No, it is not. If you come to IIM Kozhikode, I promote love as an organizing principle. But there are 3 habits of the heart, and I'm going to talk to them one after the other. First of all, I put some musical stuff. You know, there's music. There's actually corridor music in IIM Kozhikode. Wherever you go, my classes begin with music. So somebody asked me one day, so what is the connection between music and management? We stopped for a while and said, look, if you don't perform, you have to face the music in management. You jolly well understand what this is, right? And so, not on such a lighter vein, if you look at the first habit of the heart, is the habit of passion. You may have passion for music, you may have passion for whatever it is that you have, but passion is critical. The first habit of the heart is you're passionate about somebody or something. Virat Kohli in championship form is passionate. And there is no, you see, if somebody is out, it is as though Virat Kohli got him out. You know, Anushka was saying that Virat gets excited about everything and everybody. He's totally in the game. You have to be in the game in order to make an impact. That passion is very critical, but that's only the first cut of love. The second habit of the heart is compassion. Passion for others. It is compassion that got you a nano car. If Ratan Tata did not see a poor family struggling on a two-wheeler, he would not have idea of the nano car. If Dhirubhai Ambani did not know that a phone call should be cheaper than a postcard, because the poorest of the poor cannot afford it, we would not have calls this cheap in India. So compassion means that you respond to the need of the other as though it was your own need. This is the second habit of the heart. There's a third habit of the heart, which is the most critical part. It is the habit of wholeness, looking at the big picture. I'll give you 2 examples, then I'll conclude. The first example is very commonplace. You have a cup of tea. You look at a cup of tea, and you assume that a cup of tea is just a beverage. Sometimes you don't even look at what you're drinking. But look closely at a cup of tea, then you'll see that what you call tea is nothing but, well, before I say nothing but, let me tell you another version of a cup of tea, and then I'll come to mine. I meet this friend of mine called Prakash Iyer, who's the CEO of Colgate-Palmolive. He has a terrific analogy of leadership in tea. He says, in a teacup, what is inside the sachet is more important than what is outside. And a tea comes off best when it's put in hot water. And you must know when to get out of the cup. This is Prakash Iyer's version of tea. I said, Prakash, you're hopelessly outdated. What you call tea is not tea at all. Tea is photons of light falling on a green leaf, turning it brown. So you're drinking light. But you can't drink light directly, so you have to condense light. It looks like a beautiful brown beverage, and you're not happy with that, so you put 2 drops of white fluid that a black cow eating green grass has produced. You call that milk. It turns a slightly lighter brown. You're not happy with that either, so you take the sap of the earth, pull it through a pump called sugar cane, and you crystallize that sap. 2 cubes of that sugar makes the tea complete. You know what you've just done? You've stirred the Panchabhutas. Fire, water, earth, sunlight, everything together, a cosmic conspiracy inside a teacup. That's your cup of tea. So if Prakash Iyer is a corporate guy, he would be interested to see this is great philosophy, but how does it translate in business practice? This is a big picture view of reality. It translates this practice if you have to start a tea company like Amazon for tea. You recognize tea is based on your taste buds. Taste of tea is 5,000 taste buds on an average. Now, if you look at how a Kashmiri drinks his tea, a kara chai, different from Bengali style tea from Darjeeling or Assam, different from cutting chai from Mumbai, different from Kerala chai, which is not chai at all in my estimate. You recognize this is a cosmic conspiracy, is different for different parts of India. So you take 5,000 test buds and you take the cosmic conspiracy components of the conspiracy and create an Amazon for tea. And I told Prakash, if you ever start that tea company, give me 5% for the idea, right? So the fundamental shift that is happening in the world is that the big picture is becoming more and more important. How do you recombine the elements to produce an effect? That was never heard of before. Today, I have a car insurance for only the period that I want to drive. So I have an insurance for 2 hours, not 2 years. Now, insurance companies will have to mold themselves to look at the conspiracy of the consumer. They will conspire to completely scuttle your... And the second thing that I want to see, those of you who are on the smartphone, listen to this. This is a smarter analogy. So put off your phone for the time being. Would appreciate that. As a courtesy to the speakers, I appreciate that. This is a story, and the final story is about D. Hawk. The man who created Visa. You use Visa on your cards, but you do not know who created it. It was created by D. Hawk. And D. Hawk is whom? A person who's CEO Emeritus of Visa. So I had a conversation with him. I said, how did you create Visa as an idea? He said, I want to make personal banking simpler. How did you do that? He said, I reinvented money. I created a new definition of money. What was money? Human energy impulse that can be alphanumerically coded on a plastic card. And those impulses could be transmitted from one continent to another, provided there are 2 things behind the transmission process. What are the 2 things? Value and trust. Any institution that has value and trust can potentially be a bank. This is D. Hawk's definition of money. So I said, come on, how did you get to this definition of money accepted by, this is philosophy of money. This is not practical in business. How did you, first of all, get this executed? He said, I created a simple thing that looks like a business card. You just to punch it in. You may be an ordinary fellow. You don't have to be Rockefeller to punch that card in, and the money will come depending on value and trust. You don't have to stand in a queue. Don't have to be somebody to have money in the bank. That was his first definition. He redefined money and created an execution compass that was very simple. I said, Ben, how did you get 130 banks to collaborate with you before Visa became a reality? He said, I had a mantra. I said, that's an Indian word. So what was your mantra? He said, my mantra was, anytime I found a person who's inferior to me in rank or hierarchy or talent, my mantra for him or her was, you are as great to yourself as I am to myself, therefore we are equal. And he said, there was another part of the mantra. Anytime I found a person superior to me in rank, hierarchy, or talent, my mantra for him or her would be, I am as great to myself as you are to yourself, therefore we are equal. I said, did it always help? No, it never failed to work. I said, let me tell you, you've just told me something about the Indian namaste that I never thought of before. He said, what is namaste? I said, that's You know what namaste is. Yeah, that's your national greeting, but more than that. I said, more than that, it means that you put your hands together. You bow your head towards your hand, and your heart is in the whole gesture, unlike Air India hostess. No, she's looking somewhere else. This namaste is genuinely meant for you, right? And you look into the eye of the other person in front of you, and you say silently that divine that resides in me also resides in you in equal measure. He was silent at the other end of the phone, and I said, look, if you're an atheist, if you don't believe in the divine, doesn't matter. Replace the word divine with visa power. The formula still works. How does it work? When your ability to think, your cognitive capacity connects with your executive simplicity of the hands, connected with your heart, which is your emotive, affective dimension of your life. When these three, head, heart, and hands come together in pursuit of the extraordinary, you can call it divine, you can call it visa, you can call it Bajaj Finance, you can call it NIA, call it IIT, IIM, doesn't matter what name you call it. It's just another name for human endeavor in its eternal quest for excellence. India has produced a lot of managers, a lot of engineers, a lot of doctors, a lot of actuaries, a lot of insurance professionals, bankers, but India hasn't produced as many dreamers as you'd like. I want more dreamers. Professionals can do well if they're also dreamers. India of the future is a great dream. But the question I'm leaving with you is, where have those unicorns, where have those dreamers gone? Or are they going to emerge from this classroom someday, somewhere? Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for the heartfelt address.